So, do you have plans for another fight coming up?
Yes.
When?
Sometime in May, I heard they're going to get me on King of the Cage at the Toyota Arena in Ontario. And so this will be my first fight at a big venue. You know, I've always done there's a place we call it there. It's on like the Indian reservations, and it's called like the chicken coop, you know? Mm-hmm. It's under like a hangar, and like it's just so cool. It seems like some backyard brawl stuff. And so there's been about 2 times I fought it. Like the one time I fought headlining the at the Del Mar Fair in San Diego. Mm-hmm. So that was like in the big paddock area. That was a big fight. And then my fight where I got injured, that one was a title fight. And we were the main event and everything. And that was at the Rainbow Ballroom in Fresno. That was also like a big, beautiful venue.
Yeah.
But I flopped, you know? And so this will be my first time finally fighting at like an arena, you know? I just went there recently for a basketball game, and I was just like, oh my God, this is huge, you know? I went there for some teammates fights a few months ago, and it Canada, fired me up. Sorry?
You said in Canada?
No, in Ontario Arena in Ontario. I don't know if you know where that is, but no, it's in California.
Man, I was thinking Canada. I was like, damn, you about to go to Canada twice? Like, you're just pulling up on the regs.
No, yeah, it's in California, but it's just like, it's a big arena, you know?
And I know you're talking about. My mind just went to Canada for some reason.
I'd love to fight in Canada.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's fucking dope.
But so they're saying that will be sometime in May. So obviously, like, nothing's confirmed yet, like a date, an opponent, or anything yet. As we get closer, that will all be there. But that one was nice. I saw my teammates fight for there, and they had like the full on like photo shoots, the stare downs, and all that. You know, I've only ever had one stare down, and it's intense. You know, I want that full feel of everything, and it's just someplace like I know I'm ready to be there. You know, so that will be the next thing in May. So I know I have some time from here to then, but I was like, you know what? I don't want to get to a big platform and flop. So I was like, no, give me a few months to get ready for this. You know, I definitely want to take it all in and start now.
Fuck yeah. So, that's exciting, man. Well, good luck. I definitely want to go to one of your fights one of these times.
It'd be fun. Have you ever attended any fights in general?
No, never.
It's so much fun. So much fun.
Well, you know what? Where the fuck is Ontario at? I'm trying to see where that's at.
God, I don't know how to explain that anymore.
Let me see.
I'm such like a Nevada, like
200 miles, huh?
Yeah, I'd say from where I live to
That's
Vegas
right.
is about 4
like
hours.
Right by you. Was it like?
Yeah, it's about like 30 minutes from me. I'm in Menifee. Yeah.
Man, I go to like California and LA. I'm about to be going often, so.
Okay, not too off from like LA area.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's not shit. So. Man, I definitely got to check out one of your fights. I've never been to one, so yeah, that would be fun.
The environment at a fight, it's so crazy seeing it on TV versus being there for it. You know, on the TV, like I've been to a UFC and a Bellator event. And it's fun because like you hear on the TV, you hear everything, you hear
the commentators
and whatnot. But when you're there, it's quiet. Mm-hmm. It's so quiet and suspenseful. I was in Vegas for the Claudia Gadeja and Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight, I believe it was.
She's so badass.
Yeah, she is.
Oh my gosh.
And I was there, and you literally just hear like the swiftness of the gloves flying, you know? And I was just like in there in awe, like, oh my gosh, you know, it's so different seeing it in person. But just the energy of the crowd and all that. Fights are so fun to attend.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I would go attend fights every weekend. I'm going to some fights next weekend for my teammates, and I'm excited to just go. I'm so excited to just go, just like be there and be like a spectator this time and just get to watch, you know? Yeah. It's fun.
It's exciting, man. I have a handful of friends that fight out here, so I know it's going to be a matter of time before I go for a fight. A lot of my friends are fighting in Utah for some reason. It's like, and I think it's in Salt Lake. They get, I guess, fight offers out there.
They almost sent me to Oregon to fight, you know? So the fights happen everywhere. Yeah. It's just a matter of where you go.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. Well, one thing that I want to shift over, you know, we all got your fighting life, but another side of you mentioned it just a little bit earlier. You work from home. You work with kids. Tell us a little bit about that.
I love this. I've never been asked about this one too much on a podcast. I love it. I work with 2 to 5 year olds. It's a family business. It's our preschool. So my mom's like the main owner, and I'm the like head teacher. So she handles all like the business aspect, the parents and whatnot, and I'm mainly hands-on with the kids. And I love it. Other than fighting and teaching, I couldn't see myself doing anything else. Yeah. And it's such a drastic difference from fighting in the cage and I'm with my friends at night to during the day, like, okay guys, hands are for high fives, hugs and hitting and hugs, you know, and knuckles. So it's a very big difference, and I definitely know how to flip a switch.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. So 2 to 5, do any of them kind of have an understanding of what you do on the side?
Yeah, they
like, hey, Miss Keana, like, you got a fight coming up. Let's see them hands, girl.
I've shown them like videos and stuff of me fighting, but like, yeah, some of them have actually been to my fights.
Oh, that is
yeah,
awesome.
A lot of them actually been to my fights, and it's super cute. There's on my last fight, I was warming up in the corner, and my whole team's in the air in the corner. We're warming up and stuff, and you just hear Miss Keana, and as one of my students, and I run, I'm all like bitch mode, getting ready to fight, and then I run over, I'm like, oh my god, hi. Yeah. Like, you know. So yeah, it's actually cool. That's why some events that have been of all ages, a lot of my students have gone before. And so other ones, like when they come to school, like I've shown them videos and stuff, you know, like it hasn't been no bloody gory fights. I won't show them stuff like that, but they kind of just look at me as like, oh, like teacher's John Cena, you know.
Yeah,
she's
awesome.
A ninja, but you know, so they kind of have the idea. Or like I'll be in we'll be doing circle time, and I'll go to sit on the floor, and they'll hear like 3 joints crack, and they just look at me, and I'm like, teacher does wrestling, and they're like, oh, okay, wrestling. She play fights on the grass just like we do. Yeah. So they definitely, it's humbling, because they're like, cool, you play fight with your friends, so do we.
Yeah, that is so cool, man.
It's humbling.
It's so different. Like you said, it's completely different atmospheres. So to be able to juggle those
talking with the friends and the guys at night, swearing like sailors, and the next day, that's awesome. You're tremendous, you know?
Or my favorite, my friends look at me all the time. I say, like, I adopted the word cute.
Yeah,
right.
Yes.
I never used cute before having a daughter, and you know, I tell the homies all the time. I'm like, oh man, that shit is cute, bro.
I do that all the time, because my teammates, like, I'm talking with the kids all day, and then I'll get to practice. I'm like, guys, I gotta go potty, you know?
Yeah.
Or somebody just got new gloves, they're feeling tough. Or I'm like, oh, your new tie shorts are cute, and they're like, cute, and I'm like, sorry, bro, those are hard, you know?
And now imagine that coming from me, you know? It's all of my guys are around. Yeah. Meanwhile, they're like, people look at me, I'm like, yeah, man, fuck it. Yeah, that shit is cute,
dad.
Bro. Yeah, I'm a girl dad. What's up?
That's funny.
So how long have you been doing that for? You said it's a family-owned business.
Yeah, we've had it for like over 10 years. So it was mainly like after, when I was in like middle school and high school, I would come home and just like help for a few hours just for fun, and then go off to practice, whether it was like taekwondo or when I was training and whatnot, you know? So, or no, I was actually already doing like jiu-jitsu and stuff by then. So I'd come home, help for a little bit, and then go get taken to practice. So I've always like worked with the kids. And then after high school, I went full-time working there. And at first it was rough, because also, as I mentioned, my mom's my boss. And I don't know, like anyone who's ever worked with a parent understands that's not the easiest thing in the world, you know? We both have very similar personalities. Like, she is my best friend, but ooh, we are fire and fire, you know? So the first while was a bit hard, you know, just because 2 teachers, different teaching styles, you know, the class of kids, you know, like it's just hectic. I mean, not so much hectic all the time, but when you're first learning a new group and all that, just getting structured, you know. These days, it's a breeze. We work hand in hand perfect. But at first, it was pretty crazy. Yeah. So
iron out the wrinkles a little bit.
Yeah, and so definitely at first I was like, you know what, I don't think this is for me, but I don't think it was so much like me with the kids. It was more just like learning how to break things down with each other, you know, when somebody steps up, when somebody steps back. But then, so after we finally figured that out with us, then also learning to work with kids too. It's been so much trial and error, you know. These days, I definitely think I'm at my prime of being a teacher. Yeah. I am such more, like I say, it's so drastic, because at the cage and with fighting with friends, I'm so like, try to be tough and hard, you know. And then with the kids, I'm just I'm a whole nother person. I'm very gentle style teaching. You know, so, and that's what I love. I love that I get to have those 2 aspects of my life. During the nighttime, I get to be tough, and, you know, and then during the day, I am a teddy bear.
That is one hell of a way to decompress all of your emotions. I feel like you're hitting all of the emotions because of your drastic, different type of life.
And I feel like you learn so much from kids. We learn so much from them, you know, when I am trying to teach them stuff. Like, we're a preschool, so we do a lot of learning. And so I'm teaching kids their ABCs, how to write their names, how to hold a pencil, like small things for the first time, putting on their shoes, putting on their jackets. And you can't get frustrated. And being a student with jiu-jitsu, I understand if my coach was like, here, just do it, watch me and do it. It doesn't work that way, you know? So same with when I'm working with kids, little things you realize, like you can't just give them a pencil and tell them to write. You have to teach them, okay, we hold it like this. You need to put more pressure. We do this, you know? Breaking things down to the smallest and to the smallest bits of it, you know? I'm like, it's what my coach has to do for me, you know? Because I don't learn, like, I love jiu-jitsu, but I am not the fastest learner with it, you know? I have a bunch of questions. I am not a visual learner. I'm a hands-on. So I'm the same with my students. I'm very hands-on everything. So I feel like working with kids and fighting plays a role together a lot more than you would think. It teaches me how to also be attentive, you know? I'm teaching my kids during circle time and they're in La La Land not paying attention. Then I'm like, okay, guys, let's focus. And then I'm at practice and I'm in La La Land not paying attention. I'm like, oh, man.
I get it. I know how you feel, Coach.
Oh, my coach catches me too, and this actually just happened last week. He totally caught me zoning out, and we were doing like some like pretty intense move, you know. And he's like, "All right," and that's why Keaна's gonna come to the middle and show us. And I was like, damn. But I do that with my students, you know. So I was like, it all comes around.
I know your patience is tested a lot.
Oh yeah.
How do you keep yourself composed?
I'm a pretty patient person, and my dad's very patient, and so thankfully, like, he can watch grass grow. That is a very patient man, you know, and so I've definitely learned, I think just studying a lot of child development on my own, like, you know, there's certain times a lot of people say, like, you ask a kid something. I've learned to not ask kids anymore, why did you do that, or why did you know? And if a kid says, or if you do ask that and a kid says, I don't know, you can't get mad at them because they really don't know.
Yeah.
You know, they talk about how the prefrontal cortex isn't really developed until they're older, you know, past their teens. And so when a little kid does something, push a friend, do this, do that, touch this, and they say, I don't know, they really don't, you know? So all I do is just really learn how to get down to their level and just tell them, hey, this is why. I don't like also just telling kids, no, you can't have this. No, we don't do that. I will very much always take the time to explain to a kid what the whys of things, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, don't talk to your friend like that because this is how to make them feel, you know? And so even things like learning how to deal with special need kids or when a kid's having a tantrum, this is where I go all back to talking about breath work. I listened to a podcast recently where they talked about your breath is the only thing that stays with you forever, you know? Your hair's changed, your body changes, your taste and everything changes, you know? The people around you change. Your breath is the only thing that stays with you from when you're born to when you die, you know? And if you learn how to control your breath under various emotions, you know, like when somebody says, oh, you took my breath away, you know? Your breath is constantly changing. So I learned with little kids too, breath work. Yeah. When a kid's having a tantrum, they know if they're crying and I can't just go ask them, why are you crying? Why are you crying? They can't calm. So I stop and we know, smell the flowers, blow out the candles. We'll do that a good 3-4 times. And then I'll be like, okay, are you ready to tell me what's wrong? And boom, just like that, they could communicate, you know? Look at me in practice. There's times I'm on the mat and I'm frustrated and I'm crying, or I get hurt and I'm crying. I got to remind myself, okay, Keana, smell the flowers, blow out the candles, you know? So it plays such a role with each other.
Yeah, that's nice. How long did it take you to kind of, I guess, gain that patience or gain those skills in like frustrating situations or tough situations for the kids?
Honestly, I say within like the past few years, I've gone a lot better. Within the past like 2-3 years, honestly. Yeah. I've always been good with kids and patient with them, but especially just dealing with a lot more like special need kids, you know?
Yeah.
And, some of the ones that have tantrums and whatnot, just learning, you can't teach every kid the same, just having to constantly learn new things per every student I get, you know? Every few years, we have a cycle of once they go off to kindergarten, getting a whole new group of students and just having to really learn each and everyone's behavior. Some little kids, I can tell, I can have a talk with them, boom, they straighten up. Some little kids, I'll have like a talk with them, because I'm not a yeller, you know? These aren't my kids, I'm not going to yell at them, and that's not going to make them feel any better. I have learned to talk to so many kids in so many different ways that I kind of just fill them out quickly and learn who needs what kind of loving style. Some kids, I have to tell them like, okay, hey, that wasn't nice. Like, go take a time out. And afterwards, I know this is a kid I have to give a hug to after, you know? And so, yeah, it's just observing them and just learning who needs what.
I love that. Yeah. Because I'm a big kid person. I feel like I'm very, very good with kids. And... oh, not to toot my own horn, but I kind of think I'm like fucking father of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, from small conversations we've had of you asking me things about like working with your daughter, I'm like, that's great. You're already before she's in school, you know. So a lot of people think like, oh no, my kid will learn these traits once they go to kindergarten, once they go to school. You're already like, hey, I want her to what excel. Can I start her with?
Yeah, yes. I want her to excel. If these are the recommendations at this age, I want her to be very like good at doing those skills before she even has to learn them.
Yeah.
That way she could really see, like, well, I could see what time she what areas she needs more time with and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's one hell of a journey, man. Kids are so much fun,
I love it.
To watch them grow and to watch them like listen and implement things that you have sponges. Told them. Yes.
Sponges. Sometimes, a lot of times. So, because I was a little more shy and timid as I was younger. I just lacked a lot of confidence at a young age. Couldn't really tell you why. I had parents who built me up great. You know, it's just like I did it to myself. And so there's certain students that like they'll come in a lot more timid and quiet. And so the first few months I'll go through my teaching style and they know like I have my teacher stick and we'll go over their board and do certain stuff. And over time to bring them out of their shells, I'll be like, okay, who wants to help be the teacher today, you know? And I'll put certain kids in charge and other kids could see, oh, you know? So over time nowadays, like my classroom setting now, I can call literally out of my 12 students, any kid to go to the board and help be my teacher, and they'll all confidently do it. They talk with a loud, clear voice. They make eye contact. We do little things like show and tell. You sit in a circle, one kid goes in the middle, and they all show and tell. And they're having fun thinking they're showing off their toys, but for me, that's getting them used to talking when they get older, talking to a crowd, talking loud, when they have to go give a presentation one day, you know? So I always, my favorite like saying with kids is make learning fun.
Yeah. That is awesome, man. Well, make learning fun. That's one thing I'm going to, you know, hold dearly to myself because I know that if it's fun, my daughter's going to be able to want to do
There's
it. There's
so many ways to make it fun.
Yes. And I feel like I can't speak for other people, but for me, I kind of forget, you know, how, I guess, innovative I could be when it comes to learning and teaching and stuff like that.
Flashcards, games. I do stuff like I've definitely, as a teacher, another thing I learned is adapt. There's certain days in my classroom, say we're going to have a party or something, and they're just way more hyper and harder to control one day versus the next. I've learned, okay, if I sit here and get frustrated and tell them sit still, we do a thing I got from the movie Soul where I go, quiet coyote, and they all get quiet and they do their quiet coyotes. Certain days when 5 quiet coyotes ain't cutting it, you know, I'm like, okay, if I'm getting frustrated and they feel my energy, that's not good, you know? So there's certain days where I learned, okay. And I feel like with kids as a whole, even as parents, I can imagine, like with kids, you really sometimes just got to move plans and do something else. So there's certain days I have a certain lesson plan I want to teach them. Their heads aren't there and they're focused. All right, guys, let's go outside. And they're like, what?
Let's run around a little bit.
Yeah, so I'll get hula hoops, different color hula hoops. Say I wanted to go over colors on the board. They're not sitting still enough for it. Okay, guys, let's go outside. I throw hula hoops all over the grass. All right, you guys have 3 seconds. Go run to the red hula hoop. Go run to the green. So they're having fun getting their energy out, but we're still learning, you know? Yeah. There's no point in me getting frustrated with them. They've been in this world for like 3 years, you know?
They're kids.
Yeah, I'm not going to get mad at them.
Yeah, because like you said before, they don't know. They don't know why they're feeling a certain way or why they're being loud or why they're being mean or they don't know why. So.
And I look at it as I'm with them just as much as like their parents sometimes, you know? If I do have certain full-time students that are with me from 7 or 8 to 4:30, I'm with these kids a lot because by the time they go home, wash up, have dinner, go to bed, you know,
you're spending the majority of their time with the kids.
So I'm like, I'm the one teaching them the little principles of life, you know, their please and thank yous, how to be kind to their friends, how to learn. And I'm just like, why not make it memorable, you know?
Yeah. You know, that's one thing that I'm very fortunate about. The first year that my daughter was born, I was deployed for like 6 or 7 months out of that year, and it fucking crushed me.
Yeah.
That was one of my main reasons for getting out of the military, because I'm like, man, my daughter is first.
Yeah.
So since I've gotten out of the military, which time goes by so fast. It's been going on 4 years in June. I'll be out. I got to spend every single day with her.
Yeah.
And I'm so fortunate for that because most people have to work, you know, 5 days a week, 40 hours, you know, shit like that. They lose out on so much development time and so many like little things.
Milestones.
Yeah, little things. Like my daughter's first walks. I was at sergeant school in the Army.
I had a student who we don't typically like do babies and whatnot, but we had her older brother and she was like a one exception. I witnessed her take her first steps, you know, and I was like, oh, this is so heartbreaking. Like, I don't want to tell her mom, you know. There's so many little milestones in school that I see these kids do. Losing their first tooth at my school and stuff, you know. So I try to make everything special. Or also, too, a lot of my families are great, and I know none of my students are in harm, but I also just never know, like, home and living situations, you know. what families are affectionate, what families say I love you, what this and that. I'll have kids tell me I love you all the time, and I'll say it back. You're not my kid, but I'm gonna treat you like my own.
Yeah.
I posted on my story recently, one of my students, she was just very emotional one day, and she just kept wanting to hug me. She didn't want to play with her friends, nothing, and I kept trying to teach, and all she wanted to do was get on my lap. And so for like a split second, I was just kind of frustrated, like, oh, what do I do? But I was like, okay, she needs it. She needs the extra love. I don't know why, and she's too little to talk,
So I'm gonna give
She needs it. So my mom got a picture of me. I'm standing up teaching. We're doing counting to 100, and I'm holding her, and she's like 3 years old, and I'm holding her, and I'm going still about my lesson plan, teaching the kids. I'm like, something about today, like sometimes they need certain love, and if they're under my care and you're trusting me with your kid for so many hours, they're not going to go without.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man, because I know my anxiety that if I were to leave my daughter with a stranger would be fucking crazy.
There's so many sad stories about things that happen in schools, especially home child cares.
Man.
There's stories of...
scary.
Yeah,
it's
put me in
fucking
tears.
Scary. Yeah. I don't even want to think about that shit because it is fucked up. Like, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
But, shout out to you and your mom for holding it down and doing one hell of a job. Well, Keana, man, that was one hell of an episode. We learned a little bit about you, both sides of you, your ups, your downs, your injuries. You're still young, you're kicking ass. You have so much to go through and experience and conquer the world and be a fucking champion. And I'm honored to have you on my show, and I'm excited to watch your journey as it continues to progress. But with that being said, every time I have somebody come on my podcast for the first time, I sit back, I shut the fuck up, and I let you have the microphone to let my people know what you got coming next, where to follow you on social medias, your daycare, anything you want them to know. That's your camera.
Okay. I'd say my main social media sources is my Instagram, and you can find me on there at cub_MMA. And so that's my main source. You go all my fight updates, everything is on there. I just try to keep it very updated. My next fight will possibly be in May, and all the details about that will be on the Instagram. My preschool, that anyone in Southern California area, it's called Here We Grow Childcare. Our main thing is our main social media page is our Facebook account, so you can find us at Here We Grow. And also, as far as anyone who ever needs tips or just any questions too, working with kids, I love those kind of questions. Levi knows as well. He'll ask me, hey, what's a good tip for this? So I'd say the main source to catch me on to talk through is Instagram. You could DM me. And I'd love to give any advice I could, whether it's fighting, working with kids, somebody to talk to. I'm here for it all.
And she answers back, people. She's not one of them people that you hit them up and she's like, fuck you, I'll ignore your message.
I'll be everyone's friend.
Yeah. But I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
That sums it up for this episode of Talk Smack with Mac. We out.
Let's talk.